Good evening, everybody. I'm very late today. There's a good reason for it. I went to church and read, and at the end of Mass, the old priest, who's 81, he said, "Oh," and he announced the death of Janet's father. I didn't pay any notice, although I'd read, I just thought I wasn't the only Janet in the church, not that there was many there. And he said it twice, maybe three times, Janet's father. The Janet that's in our church. And then he looked at me and I was at the back, and he said that my father had died that day. He got an email from Stuart. So emails are not to be trusted. I think telephone calls are in order. So when I realised that he meant my dad, I said, my father died in 1973 on the 19th of December. I think he felt very embarrassed, but it's okay. We all make mistakes in communication, don't we? But, I just thought there must be another Janet here. And I never paid it any mind until he so directed looking at me. Anyway, rest in peace, Dad. Nice to somebody to think, she just died today. He'd have been 106, I think. Anyway, since I came home, I've typed up what I'm going to record now. I don't know if I'll do it all in one. I think perhaps I do it separately, because I received leaflets in Trafalgar Square last week, and I kind of didn't get around to looking at them until yesterday. And the type was very small. I wouldn't trust myself to read it out loud because I made mistakes. My eyes are not brilliant. I need my cataracts done, but I won't let anyone near my face, and they won't put me out, so that'll be that. Anyway, this one is the first. I'll give you an introduction. It's really about what's going on now and what has gone on, and this is like a little history for all of us. And somebody just handed me this on a little leaflet, and I think I'd like to share it with you. So the heading is, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them and do nothing." The words of Albert Einstein. So this is a comfort to us, all those that try to do a little bit, to share the information that we believe to be true. If we're wrong, in the fullness of time we'll be proven wrong. However, I'm going to take time and read this to you, and then I'll read the next one separately, and it's on common law, and that's taken me the longest to type up. Fascinating. I did know some of it, but I have to admit I didn't know all of it, and what's in here is interesting for all of us. So, the title is, "Can we just take a second to ask ourselves why, in October 2019, did Bill Gates fund an event at Oxford University about the research of how mass population would react to a worldwide pandemic? Event 201. I thought at first, when I first typed it, that he'd made a mistake in typing, like it should be 2021, but no, the event is on this is called 201. If face masks work, why have cases increased since they were made mandatory? That's a question we all need to ask. I've never worn one, and only getting my feet done, she insisted. I won't go back again till it's all over. And I held it out like this, away. I can't have my face covered. So what use was that, eh? Anyway, if you sneeze, anyone can get anything. You've got even 24 feet away if you sneeze. Sorry, I'm laughing, I don't mean to. The next question that you ask yourself, and I've asked myself, why can't anyone even discuss the use of hydroxychloroquine when doctors have come forward and said it helps patients carrying the virus. I don't know if you hear it on the normal media, which I don't listen to. The next question you have to ask is, why have we never had any temperature checks or COVID tests at airports if it is so deadly? I mean, they certainly would if it was that African illness that people literally do die of. Why did Dominic Raab say that 93% of tests are false positives? I'll repeat that question. It was called Ebola. So if COVID-19 was on that level, I could understand, but it's not, and yet they're not doing these tests. Why did Dominic Raab say that 93% of tests are false positives? Why did they inflate the number of deaths so drastically and put COVID-19 down as a cause of death when it wasn't? Everyone knows that a lot of people who died had underlying health issues, and maybe for even 20 years they'd had them. So it was no surprise when they died of something and called it that. Another question. Why were they paying reality TV stars to promote testing? As I don't watch TV, I don't know who the stars are. However, I know that they're popular people, so probably because people identify with them and, they feel some affinity with them, but not realising they're actors, they're acting like that, so you'd like them. So they think that, well, if they use them, that people will follow their, whatever they're wanting them to do and show you to do if you watch television. So, why are they not addressing that the reasons cases are going up is because more people are being tested? Yeah, they're forcing tests on some, aren't they? That there was one child the other day who they insisted it had tests, but they wouldn't test the parents because they said it had cost too much money. None of this makes sense. Why does the social media delete and ban any freedom of speech regarding COVID-19, yet they cannot block and ban child pornography? I don't mean the children, it's the adults who are dealing in this and abuse children and film themselves in them. It's just horrific. That would give some protection from children being constantly abused and these people seeking out children and stealing them and doing all sorts of things to take these terrible pornography films. Yet they'll do all this. What they're saying is that's on social media. Well, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't look for that sort of thing. But if it's out there and they're not deleting it, why not? And they'll delete something like COVID-19. So we need to ask ourselves, why is that happening? Yeah, because the powers that be, the evil monsters, the ones that are doing this are the ones that do that, the child pornography. It's always the moneyed people, it's not the poor people. Why would they be interested in being evil? Also, why were we told in March 2020 that face masks and gloves are unnecessary, and yet now they are mandatory? They've changed their minds. It's unbelievable how they can change what they're saying from one minute to the next. It's obvious it's not based on science anyway. This one interested me, this question. Why did the Save the Children protest? Thousands of people were outside Buckingham Palace and they did not get any media coverage. Not in the normal media. They got it on our sort of channels, YouTube, brand YouTube, and shoot something or other. I saw that the other day. Another question. Why, when we are meant to be protecting ourselves from a virus, are we going to line up for the flu vaccine that is made of 3 different live viruses? Well, if you want to get sick, then line up and have that, and you'll soon find out what illness is. How do these people want to take any vaccine right now? Can't trust what they'll give you. Anyway, it's something to think about. The next question. Why are we only talking about the 18 people that died of coronavirus yesterday and not the 125 people that committed suicide last week in the UK? Talking of 18 as opposed to 125 suicides, there's a great big difference, isn't there? 18 people, they might have had underlying health issues for years, for a long time, and who knows, they record all sorts of deaths of COVID-19 when it's not necessarily that. And yet suicides shows depression, mental health issues, and no hope for the future. Those lives were important. They should not have been allowed to get in that state, and nobody cared. Another question. Why did the London Freedom protest of 40,000 people nearly get shut down by the police, who supposedly work for the people? And I was told by a protester outside the Tate Gallery that a man was hit on the head with a wooden truncheon and he died. That was from that protest. Are they working towards a cashless society? That is another important question, because all these ways of paying have been reduced and they're insisting on card payments, and people need cash money. But it's a worldwide thing. It's not just in the UK, so that needs to be questioned. If you are interested in facts rather than fear and lies that the media and government are feeding you, please research for yourself the following information. I'll send this writing to David Yates on email so he can have these what I've got written down here, these links, and maybe he could allow you to see them. He could photograph them or something and put them up. One is called Watch the Plandemic, https, the usual dots and dashes, www.bitchute, bitchute.com -video -IRT CQOC6HI. Maybe I could show you. That's as I type them up. So research event 201, YouTube Houston Dr. COVID, Know Your Rights, https powertothepeopleuk.com, Learn is on Netflix, The Great Hack, Question Everything, YouTube Out of Shadows Official, https YouTube, The Real Conspiracy Theorists Believe that the government cares about them. The media would never mislead or lie to them, and the pharmaceutical industry that makes billions off sickness wants to cure them. Please copy this information and pass it on to others. Well, I'll do my best, because I'll email it to David and he might be able to forward it on to you people. Now then, I am going to stop there and then straight away do the next one, which is on BritishConstitutionGroup.com, on undoing the mind spell, natural law, the Constitution and the sovereign people rule. I found it fascinating when I just typed it up. That's what I've been doing all afternoon, so that I can read it better than the tiny, tiny little print that it was in. Okay, all right then. Thank you very much for listening. I'll record this straight after this. Thank you.